providing inspiration and community for women in business of Middle Tennessee. This is Powered by Her with Tiffany Anton.
You're indestructible, indestructible. You are indestructible. You're indestructible, indestructible. You are indestructible.
Thanks to our partners at Harper's Rare Books and Collectibles. Owner Louis Matheny supports local artists, and we are excited to announce Andrea Kruzka Photography is having her first ever art show. It starts on July 15th in the upstairs gallery of Harper's. Harper's Rare Books is a community supporter of local arts. Reach out to Louis if you're interested in featuring your art at Harper's. To learn more about Harper's Rare Books and Collectibles, head over to harpersrarebooks.com or check them out on Facebook. So excited about our new partnership with Brandon Parish from Mortgage Investors Group. If you're looking for financing options for a new home purchase or even refinancing your current mortgage, call Brandon. I've worked with Brandon multiple times and he has answered all of my questions in the finance process. He is available to answer questions and make the overall process feel a little less confusing and easier. Brandon Parish, NMLS number 869942. Mortgage Investors Group is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 34391. Welcome to Powered by Her. I'm Tiffany Anton from the Biz Foundry. If you want to know more about Powered by Her, head over to poweredbyhercommunity.com. Today we have bloggers, content creators from Hey Wanderer, Casey Freeman and Savannah McNeil.
Hello.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Thanks for coming in today. So you guys have kind of created a buzz online.
Oh, I guess. Sure.
So what do you say that? How would you explain what Hey Wanderer is?
Well, it started out as a blog for sure. I wanted to make stuff and sell it on Etsy, and then
So this was like back in like early
2011.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we would do like DIYs and crafts together. I had a craft room in my house and she would come over and we would just make things, and then we thought we should try to sell this, always trying to think of a way to make money.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it was based on, was making money in some way.
Yeah. So I thought you needed to have a blog to promote that Etsy shop or whatever.
And that was kind of the way to do things in 2011.
Yes. That was when Pinterest was really just blowing up, and you could pin something and it could actually go viral fairly easily. And that's what happened with the blog, is that actually the blog ended up being more successful than Etsy. And within the first 6 months, we had several posts go viral on Pinterest. So we had a lot of traffic, and then it would just started, kind of went from there, and that's.
Yeah.
So what was the first blog post that went viral that you guys did?
Oh, the first one was the Pinterest one, yes.
Well, no, there was one before that. The big one was
My hair.
Savannah's hair. We were testing out if
There was this pin that had gone viral on Pinterest, and it was two different photos. It showed someone, they had braided their hair and straightened it. And then they took it out, and it was supposed to be really wavy. Yeah. And so we were like, let's test that out. Actually, I was like that. Casey thought it was she was like, this is dumb. Nobody wants to see this. And
I was wrong. I've been wrong.
I took pictures like in the bathroom at night doing this thing, and it went viral. And it doesn't really work like the pin showed you. It does something to your hair, but anyway.
So it's like the TikToker. There's some TikTokers that like factor.
Basically, yes,
Harper.
we did a series called "Does Pinterest Know Everything?" So that was one of those things that we did. Yeah.
And it has like millions of page views.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
still to this day.
So for people, you said that you were starting this out to make money. For people who are just, our common folks that are listening are like, okay, so you write a blog, so
How do you make money?
how do you make money?
Yeah, there's a few different ways.
Yeah, so you can make money on a blog through ads. So you can just set your blog up and have Google ads.
It's something that you have to go set up. It doesn't just pop up on your blog.
Yeah, you have to set it up. And Google has to approve you. They usually like for you to have so many blog posts and see what your content's about. And then, but basically they put ads on it does auto go on there.
Yes.
And then every time someone looks at that ad or someone clicks on it, you can make money off of that. So that's one way. Ads and then affiliate income. So if I link to something on Amazon and you were to, even if
Like
you
the
didn't buy
straightener I use.
Yeah.
Here's what I use.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
products and stuff.
products, yeah, even if you don't buy that particular item, if my blog sends you to Amazon onto a big shopping spree, I earn a teeny tiny portion of whatever you buy at no extra cost to you. And then
It could also be on affiliate income can happen on services and
Yes.
just different things. Lots of even little companies can set up some sort of affiliate account with you, and you can make a little profit off of selling things.
Yeah, like we sell
services.
there's these garden planters. If someone buys one from our link, we make a little bit of that. And then I guess lastly is like people will pay you to create content for them on your blog. So someone Lowe's, for example, might contact us and say, hey, do this DIY project. We'll pay you, this amount of money. We'll give you the supplies. And so that would be the other
brand deals,
which
which also can go into social media, doing things on Instagram.
Right, do that on Instagram.
Yeah.
So in 2011, you both had other income, other jobs you were doing, and this was kind of like a side hustle for you guys. And you just thought,
we're just trying to figure out how to make money off of that.
Let's-
We didn't know all of these things in the
Right.
beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in fact, in the beginning, we hadn't put ads
On the
on
blog
our
yet.
blog, so we didn't make any money off of those like
Big
viral,
days
viral
that we
things.
had.
We didn't make a dime off of it. We ended up making money because from brand deals.
Yes.
Um,
And now we are monetized in that post still gets a lot of views it's one of the most popular posts still.
Yeah.
So we do make a little bit of money off of just someone looking at it.
yeah.
I think something else another way to make money is if you're selling
Your own
own products and courses and that kind of stuff. That is,
And have you guys ventured into that arena?
yes.
Yes.
And what kind of courses? So you had another big hit more recently of stock tank pools.
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
So what are stock tank pools?
A stock tank is the metal trough, or it can be plastic that cows drink water out of, or livestock in general,
Yeah.
but I feel like cows is the most common thing. And we just installed a pool filter onto them so that you can use it as a pool. You can decorate it, you can put a deck around it, and it'll filter the water and be really clean, and a tiny little pool in your
And
backyard.
so this kind of made it big and hit in like a bougie world. This wasn't like, these were not farmers.
No.
that were like,
Farmers totally, this has been a thing, not the actual pool pump, but people will jump in cattle troughs all the time.
Yeah, and they just drain them or
they
swim in
just
dirty water or
swim in
whatever.
the cow
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
People just, to cool off, people will jump in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes.
Do you guys have farm backgrounds, either of you?
No. No.
Okay.
I'm from the
not at
city.
all.
Okay.
Yeah, we're both.
I mean, if you
Former
asked
city
me
girls.
when I lived in Texas, I lived in Dallas, not like country Texas, what a stock tank was, I wouldn't know.
I wouldn't have either.
Yeah.
I saw it. I saw them back in like 2015. I just started seeing a couple of people having them, but nobody told you like, how do you use this as a pool? Like, what do you do? So then
Everyone, I feel like, did it more temporary.
Yeah.
It was, I set this up and did a photo shoot, or
there was
had
a
some
lot of
friends
people
over.
in like Joshua Tree.
Yes,
that's
Joshua
where I would
Tree.
see them, like out in the desert. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just thought they were so cool. And then when we moved into a new house,
For yourself, you thought that they were cool. Like this wasn't
Just to have.
Yeah, yeah.
So when we moved into the house that we lived in Nashville, the last house we lived in Nashville, we had a pretty good backyard, and I was like, I gotta have one of these. And so we looked everywhere for how to set one up or what you have to do, and there was no information. And we actually had our landscaper set one up, and he put like a pond pump or like a waterfall pump, which didn't really clean or do anything.
It
So
just keeps the water moving so mosquitoes don't breed
yeah.
in the water.
And then the next year, I was like, Savannah was like, we need to put a real pool pump on this. And that's when we did a video about it, because I was like, there's no information. No one's really knows about how to do this.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah,
that
Casey doesn't remember this, she has told me, but we, there was just this moment that Casey said, we have to make a video about this. I think it's going to be huge. And that's really stuck in my brain. She's like, I don't remember that happening, but that's why we made a video about it. And
it did.
We did it on Hey Wanderer. So that was, you know, that's what we were always looking for, is some kind of big idea that was going to kind of blow up. And the stock tank pool did, and it actually has become its own thing now, and you know, separate from Hey Wanderer.
Yeah, so like that blog, that website, we do have ads, and the stock tank pool blog, we have ads, and we do blog posts like a traditional blog, and then we also sell a guide that has like everything we know about stock tank pools, how to set them up, how to take care of them, and we're really one of like the only people that do that. So it's a super niche market, but.
So what kept you going from 2011? You're doing hair tutorials and friendship bracelets and, you know, crafts. And what kept you going? And, you know, you're getting little bits of income here and there. What kept you going to 2015 where you're like, okay, now we can make some income off of this?
Yes. I mean, I feel like our answers might be different. Yeah. I've always been a very creative person, and when I got out of college, just could not really find any job that fit what I went to school for, and I applied art. Just my degree is just in art, like visual art, like painting and photography and those kind of things, and I applied for so many jobs, and I honestly hate working for people. And so for me, it was kind of a necessity. I mean, I needed to make money, but I knew that the corporate world isn't for me, teaching isn't for me. There was a lot of things that I just did not love. And so for me, it was trying desperately to find another way than what was, you know, kind of paved out for me.
So until recently, Casey, you've been working relatively recently, working as a nurse.
Right.
And were you working, Savannah, during that time? Like, was it just kind of odd jobs here and there, content creation kind of stuff?
Yes. So I was a server. I did a lot of weird little jobs. Like one time I gave out samples at Whole Foods. So of spinach and dressing. Tessie Mae's, if anybody knows about Tessie Mae's. It's when they only had like 3 dressings. But I would do a lot of little things. And when we started a clothing brand in the middle of all that, I actually, after we did a few shows, I quit working basically altogether and did the clothing full time.
Because when we started the blog, I was in nursing school. And so 2013 is when I started, 2013.
You probably didn't feel like, okay, let me work for this degree and then let me just go full time into this other thing.
Exactly. So I worked as a nurse from 2013 to 2020. In 2020, in August, I was able to quit and then just do all of these things full time.
And I think kind of towards the last couple of years before she quit, we had kind of said, how can we get Casey to also stop working and this be her full-time thing? And stock tank pools is what did that.
We were really like, if you really looked at everything we've ever done, we're kind of a little bit all over the place. So it's kind of like we throw stuff at a wall to see what sticks, you know.
Yeah.
And we just get bored. And so Hey Wanderer, if you saw all the content on there, you'll see some years where we posted a lot, and then some years where there's like 12 posts for the whole year. And it's just changed, and it's been so many things. But I don't know. It started kind of becoming our identity. We were always it's always there, and then we make money off of the ad, so it's like, well, it's always gonna be there.
Yeah.
We've been trying to.
It's kind of like a launching pad for. I mean, if you look at it, you say, oh, it's just stock tank pool. That's all that's launched. But we've launched a lot of things from Hey Wanderer, and this is the only thing that's really taken off as well as it has. So it's still, Hey Wanderer's still there. It's still what we do, you know.
Where did the name Hey Wanderer come from?
So we actually, when we first started, the blog was actually called Oh So Pretty, The Diaries.
Because we did all the pretty things,
hair,
nails, hair, you know, those kind of things.
And then, I don't know, we just thought that didn't really fit what we were doing anymore. And then, I don't know, I was working actually. We were texting back and forth about names. And I love the hymn, which name escapes me, but it's like, I'm prone to wander. And I was like, I just love that idea. And then Savannah was like, what about Hey Wanderer? And I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. And that's working.
And you guys have done some like hiking that you like through hiking that you done. You guys have just done like you have kind of built the life that you want to build.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way, you know, life takes you. Yeah. Recently you've decided you were in Nashville for years and you've within the last year?
Yeah. Yep. October of last year.
Decided let's go live off the grid.
Yeah.
So that's been a whole nother adventure for you.
Yeah. Thing, which we have launched like a whole website about our blog, I should say, about living off
I guess
grid.
you say we're in the process of launching. It exists, but we're working on
we don't have
building it out.
On there. But yeah, that came from a accumulation of things. It's been like
a lot of the things that you're talking about, like the hiking
year journey. Started out with gardening. We got chickens in Nashville, and then we didn't have those things anymore. We moved into a different house, and then we went back into gardening, and then got chickens, and then we took a trip for my birthday in 2020 where we were traveling in our camper van. And I think that just like kind of opened our eye, like we could live off grid, you know. And then we actually, through a sponsorship deal, got a shed at our last house in Nashville, and we stood in it, and I was like, man, this is huge. Like I could live in this, you know. Like these are.
It wasn't that big.
Yeah, no,
it was like 12 by 16.
It's not. We were more thinking like you could turn this into an Airbnb.
Yes.
And then and then we were. Starting in 2020 and 2021, we were really looking at land. We knew we wanted more land. We knew we wanted a homestead. We knew we were already homesteading, but in an urban, smaller lot.
Yeah.
And we
wanted the opportunity to be able to try to produce our own meat, and we could not do that in the city.
Yeah. And so we bought 5 acres of land in the middle of nowhere. We were like,
there's a lot more stuff. Also, I want to say it's not just because we wanted to, you know, have meat chickens or anything. There's a lot of things that helped that, you know, made us. Well, I mean, we did not own the house that we lived in. Her parents owned it, and we rented from them. And we just were never going to be able to afford to own anything in Nashville. And that was kind of a big deal to us.
Especially having, being self-employed.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes it really, really hard.
And we one time calculated how much money we spent on rent in the whole time that we had lived at that house, which we would not change it. That it was an awesome house, and it was just like an investment for our parents. It worked out fine. But it was an astronomical number. And we thought we should be putting this into something is our own, like something that we can.
Right. We also didn't want to get a 30-year mortgage. Because now I think Staff Tank Pool, we actually registered as an LLC. So now by this year, we would have enough tax returns for that business to probably get a mortgage. But we really were like, I don't want to wait, and I don't want to be in a mortgage for 30 years. So
yeah, that's kind of what led to the shed, living in a shed.
Yeah.
But
you bought a property, you live in a shed,
Yes.
you had no electricity.
Well, we had electricity.
We have electricity. We have a generator,
and a solar.
We don't have grid electricity.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have solar generator and like a traditional generator.
You lived in an RV for a little while.
Yes. It was a small camper.
Okay, so we're talking about all the craziness. So you guys are best friends, and you just became best friends based on like starting the blog.
Yeah.
You
Just
were like, hey,
common
let's
interests.
do common interests. Let's do this together. You were serving together. Is that correct?
Yep.
And then so best friends sometimes not everything is like smooth sailing. It's amazing. And I can't imagine I don't know that I could imagine living with anyone in an RV.
It was rough.
So how do you live your lives, run a business? How do you do all the things together. And you guys have been pretty open and candid about this.
Yeah.
How do you make it work?
I don't know. We do.
I feel
We fight a lot. Oh,
Yeah.
we do. We fight like sisters. We fight like sisters.
yeah.
And you have some
totally.
boundaries, right? Like you have like, we're going to talk it through. We're going to,
Yeah.
I mean, I heard somebody say to you, what happens when your friendship goes south? And you're like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I think our friendship is very important to both of us. And I think that's something, maybe consciously or unconsciously, that we've both made a point to be like, we're going to work at this.
Right.
And yeah, we have to communicate a lot. I mean, we hurt each other's feelings. We get in arguments. We bicker like an
bicker
old
a lot.
married couple or something. But it's just, I don't know, like the desire to make sure that you keep this right. You know,
Yeah.
that
It's basically it's about it's intentionality. You know, you're like, well, now we've been friends for 11
years.
Yeah, and so it's just kind of like, I don't know, like she's a person, and
Well, and Casey, you've talked a little bit about that intentionality of how important that is in all your relationships in
Yes.
life. Is that at women in their 30s and 40s, things aren't just going to happen. Your relationships with people aren't just going to fall into
Right.
your lap. Your business partner relationships aren't just going to go smoothly, especially for women that have emotions, that their feelings are going to get hurt. And so what advice or pointers could you give people who maybe struggle sometimes, who have business partners that maybe aren't their best friend? And
yeah. Communication, setting expectations up front. I know when we have issues, it always boils down to a lack of communication. Savannah had one expectation, I had another, and it's like, oh wow, we would have just talked about this. So if you can communicate up front, and then you have to decide, like, what do I want this relationship to look like? And you just have to kind of hold yourself to that standard. Okay. Because I think the biggest problem today, and maybe it's always been, I don't know, but is people don't have conflict well. It's like
Yes,
they fight,
mhm.
they have an argument, and then they're embarrassed, and then they're uncomfortable, and they never address it, and they either sweep it under the rug, and then that tension still is building off of that, or the friendship or the relationship completely dissolves. And really, if you can have the courage to just have that conversation, I think if everyone is open and honest about it, it's amazing.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm gonna tear up. Like that's such a good way to put it. I think you're so right in the fact, and I think, and I have spent some time with you guys, and I think both of you are you own who you are as well. Savannah, I think you said, well, I'm more, this way. I'm not as emotional about things. And I think that knowing yourself is part of that conflict.
100%. 100%.
And being able
Yeah, and I think the thing is people are scared of confrontation, and no one likes confrontation. Maybe there's a few people out there
Right.
that like it, but it's uncomfortable for everyone. But you just, decide if that's important enough to you.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the thing. I truly believe in my relationships, and I try and be pretty intentional. Somebody said to me the other day about my boss, oh, well, he doesn't like conflict. And it's like, well, I don't like conflict either, but I see that the value of,
Right.
It's
dealing with these
necessary,
things.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and
Because
so,
you have to decide, is this person worth more than my lack of wanting to deal with this conflict? Would I rather just sit in my being uncomfortable and letting this relationship dissolve, or is this person more important than my discomfort?
where do you think you guys got that? Have you always been raised kind of in those values, or is this something you've developed between the two of you over the last 11 years? Or was there a point where Hey Wanderer was going to no longer be?
No.
I think so. My growing up, I think that this is common. It's just kind of you just keep everything to yourself. If your family has a problem, like nobody else knows about that, and that was suffocating to me. And I didn't think, oh, I don't like this, let me change this. But it's just been a long journey to changing that and kind of figuring out who you are and how you operate, and the people that you love, how they operate, and what, you know, how y'all work together.
Yeah, I would say for me, it's my faith, because I think God created us for community and God created us for relationships, and so that doesn't just happen, and so I think that just over maturing in that and growing up, because I have certainly not always been great. I was like I'm done with you, moving on kind of a person, and can't say that that's not a more natural reaction to me. It's not even about conflict. It's just like, I don't know, I can be detached sometimes. And so
I haven't seen that as much. Like, she's told me about this, so I'm like,
that's definitely
it's definitely changed. Yeah,
it's changed a lot as I've gotten older. But so I just think values and faith and it's just something that's developed over time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of work, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of different things. It's, you know, thinking about other people, thinking about yourself, not always putting yourself first,
Right.
and
Owning,
working
I mean,
at
I think owning, you know, yourself and the situations and all that
Being
kind of stuff.
comfortable
Totally.
with yourself.
Yeah.
Yes.
What I have noticed as I've gotten older is when relationships have gone south now, with my new sort of perspective on relationships, it is because the other person is uncomfortable with themselves. And when you are comfortable with yourself, that actually can come across sometimes as intimidating, or, you know.
Yes. I'm laughing. Yes. I mean, I'm always like, I don't understand why I'm intimidating, but I think it is. I try and own the things that I am what I am. I always say about myself, I'm fiery for the good and the bad.
Yes. And I think if you can know that about yourself and try not to allow your feelings to get hurt, because you don't like everybody, and therefore not everybody's going to like you, you know.
Yeah.
And that's hard, but.
So when you guys were growing up, we kind of touched on that a little bit. What did you think, what was like 10-year-old Casey, 10-year-old Savannah, what were you going to do with your life?
Oh, I don't know. I was different, I feel like. I more didn't understand the way life worked, basically. But the thing is that it makes sense now, because I just thought this is what you do with your life, and I didn't understand like who made those rules. Yeah. And so I think I was confused a lot of the
I didn't know young Savannah, but from the stories that she's told, it sounds like she was very mature for her age. At like 10 years old, she was like, I get in trouble when I get on AOL Instant Messenger, and so I'm just not going to get on there anymore. She's like,
I was older than 10,
I think you're like 13 or
Maybe.
something. I'm like, what 13-year-old has that thought? Like, this gets me in trouble, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I can't remember what I wanted to be, but I mean, who knows? Not this.
I imagine you,
didn't think,
in my head, were just more like, life is so fun.
Yes.
You're just
I'm
in the
gonna go to
moment.
college and
Did you think that you, like, were you interested in, like, off-grid?
Absolutely
like,
not.
Fresh food and, like, living
No.
in nature and that kind of stuff?
I think my grandma had a garden, and I knew that, but that wasn't impactful on my life. And nobody,
No,
I mean, I lived in the city, so.
Yeah. My mom, no.
Yeah.
She did not have a green thumb. Wasn't Sally Homemaker. Like, she was always there, but I mean, she wasn't like that traditional, like, 50s mom, you know. Yeah. And I, clothes, makeup, hair, all of that was super big deal and super important to me for many, many years. Like, I was crazy about makeup, and
now 90% of the time you don't wear makeup.
Like 98% of the time. And so, but really it was like, started out with camping, and then we did a backpacking trip, and that's kind of how I started becoming more earthy, and then like just gardening and doing stuff outside.
And just kind of your worldview, just kind of thinking about your impact on the world. That was a big part of just our thought process, just kind of where does my food come from? That's always been a conversation
Yes.
since we've been friends. And all the different facets of your life that you don't think about, we think about them a lot. And
So what do you think? What's next for Hey Wanderer?
I have no idea.
I mean, I guess I would say the off-grid homesteader.
Yeah, so because we are living off-grid and homesteading.
So what does that mean for people who don't know what off-grid means?
Okay, so
It means different things for different people, and people
Yes.
some people will give us a hard time because we have internet, and they're like, that's not off-grid. Because some people in their mind, off-grid is like, you don't pay taxes.
You don't have an address.
You don't have an address. No one knows you exist. So like, you're literally like off the world grid.
like people couldn't find you if they wanted to
Right.
find
Yeah.
you.
But traditionally, when most people are talking about it, they mean you're not hooked up to the electrical grid. So we today actually we're getting our full solar power system, and so that's how we'll get electricity. We get rainwater. That's how we collect rainwater. And what's the other thing?
What else do you need to learn?
I guess, and we have a composting toilet.
Yeah.
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 So,
I mean, yeah, so
You have an outdoor shower right now.
yeah.
An outdoor shower
Yes.
right now.
Or
Yes.
and in the winter you showered at the gym.
Yes.
yes.
So you have those kind of things, but you have cell phone service where you're at and
Yes.
internet.
Yeah.
And fiber optic.
Yeah.
cable.
Our internet
Yeah.
is great.
Yeah.
Cell service not as much, but we do have cell phones and we have internet.
Yeah.
Because we have to, because
Because you.
our business is online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So,
So we have chickens and in a garden, and we may get
we
more
have meat
animals.
chickens coming.
Yeah.
But that
Do you
yeah.
plan on building up, like having a farm of sorts of like, meat chickens and maybe even
not
other,
for selling,
but for yourselves?
Yeah, for ourselves. Yeah. So in July we get meat chickens, which we'll butcher in like September, which will be our first time ever doing that. So that'll be interesting. And we may add other animals, but right now we're
going
kind of like,
super slow.
let's finish our house first.
Because it is not, the inside is not finished.
Yeah.
And the house, like I think we might have mentioned this, is a shed.
Yes.
That you guys and you're kind of just 100% DIY. You figured out how to cut windows into it and figured out how to build a
Yes.
porch and figured out like where do you figure out how to do the
YouTube
internet?
University.
Yes, YouTube. But
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, YouTube everything. And we are actually trying to get someone to do our drywall right now. I know we could do it, but
She is
really
very anti
do
doing
not want to do
it.
it. Hanging it is one thing, but then the mudding and the taping, I'm just like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
The
So-
patience for
yeah.
things. And we've talked about that too of just the line of like, okay, is this worth my
Yes.
time to do this, or should I pay somebody to do this? And so
Yes.
that's definitely something.
We're definitely totally fine with, our shed was built by somebody else. So we aren't trying to do everything with our own hands. We are just trying to be able to afford what we're doing
And right now, this
possibly
is
do
such a
it.
busy time too.
Yes.
There's so many like gardening things. I have like 75 tomato plants that I need to plant in the ground.
Yes.
You know?
And then for it's the busiest stock tank pool
Yes.
season.
Yeah.
So any help that we can afford is a
Yes.
great
Do you
help.
feel is doing the things yourself when you do them? Is it for the sense of accomplishment? Is it just because you like learning things and doing things, or?
I think it's a little. I mean, it's mostly.
I would
out of
mostly say no.
necessity.
It's necessity.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
it's like, what can we afford? And it's usually, we have to do it. That's what,
because
so-
we don't have like a traditional home loan or anything like that. It's all like, what money do we have?
Yes.
So we will,
Yes. And I think that because we do it, it is interesting to learn how to do something. And I think because of stock tank pools and because of all of our DIY-ness, we have learned a lot of skills, and a lot of them cross over with stock
Yeah.
tank pools. And it's kind of wild, some of the stuff that we have learned. But I mean, it's interesting. It's always nice to learn something new.
Yeah.
Am I going to build porches
Like
for
when
people?
we
No.
installed our air conditioning unit,
Oh,
the
gosh.
mini split, and that was you were like, whoa, we did this.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, it was, because that was a big project. And
Do one of you have more of that like you have to be like, I have to show the world I can do this. Like,
Oh no,
Well, no,
that-
it's more that I
She
have
has more of the
more
brain
a
to
brain
figure
to
out,
figure
yeah.
things out,
Mm-hmm.
and I can do monotonous tasks, and Casey does not love
I get
doing
very
that.
impatient.
yeah.
Yes.
Which
I
is
follow orders. She just tells me to hold something, and I'm like, I can do that.
Which is good, again, with business, is that you need to know your strengths, your
Yeah,
weaknesses, and,
totally.
kind of disperse those
We
out,
call her
so.
the idea girl, and then
Yes.
I try to figure out how to
make
make it
them
work,
happy.
and then also be like, are we gonna do this?
Yeah.
And
Because I'll just get
she's
tired
like,
of it.
that's nice,
it
go
again.
on.
Well, I really appreciate you guys coming in today. I mean, I feel like we could talk for another hour about all the things. How can people find you if they want to find you in general?
On Instagram, we are Hey Wanderer, ERER, and also Stock Tank Pool, not plural. And our websites are heywanderer.com and stocktankpoolauthority.com.
And we put out a YouTube video
Oh, yes.
every Sunday, although there was not one up this past Sunday, on our YouTube channel, Hey Wanderer, which is all about our off-grid life.
Yes, it's actually just about our life, and that's what we're doing. So
It's like a vlog. Of
yeah, it's just a vlog, and sometimes
Yeah.
educational, but mostly
Yes.
vlogging. Yep.
Well, good. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
for
It was
having
great
us.
having you here. If you want to know more about Powered by Her, head over to poweredbyhercommunity.com. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure that you like, subscribe, follow, share with a friend, tell your friends, tell your neighbors to listen to Powered by Her. Thanks so much. Be sure to call Brandon Parish at Mortgage Investors Group of Cookeville. Brandon Parish, NMLS number 869942. Mortgage Investors Group is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 34391.